This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God, but every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world. John, chapter 4 verse 2 and 3. In a little-known message that has shaped the worldview of Mystic Post, Our Lady told the visionaries at Medjugorje that there would come a day when the West will make civilization progress but without God, and will act like their own creator. Mysteriously, Our Lady also added, Russia will come to glorify God the most. This message was revealed in October of 1981 at the height of the Cold War and just 6 months after the Soviet Union's attempted assassination on Pope John Paul II. We call this message the Great Prophecy of Medjugorje. This message also, in certain ways, ties Medjugorje directly to Fatima in that Our Lady has mysteriously placed Russia in a prominent prophetic role at both Fatima and Medjugorje. Within the past few days, 2 historic speeches, one by Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles, the other by Russian President Vladimir Putin, point to evidence that the fulfillment of Our Lady's prophecy is emerging in a dramatic way. The 2 speeches address the anti-Christian ideology of wokeism. Simply put, wokeism is the spirit of the Antichrist. And the philosophical tenets of wokeism are at the root of Our Lady's prophecy that the West will make civilization progress but without God, and will act like their own creator. Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles very clearly points out that, at its core, this new progressive, woke way of thinking is anti-Christian and it is dangerous. The Archbishop asserted that it is important for the Church to understand and engage these new movements, not on social or political terms, but as dangerous substitutes for true religion. Today's critical theories and ideologies are profoundly atheistic. On November 4, 2021, the Archbishop said, "They deny the soul, the spiritual, transcendent dimension of human nature. They think that it is irrelevant to human happiness." The new social movements that exist in the US, such as social justice, wokeness, identity politics, intersectionality, or successor ideology, should be understood as pseudo-religions, and even replacements and rivals to traditional Christian beliefs. Archbishop Gomez compared today's social movements to that of Marxism and noted that they resemble other heresies found in church history. Gomez even echoes Our Lady's prophecy that there will come a day when the West will not only reject God but will act like their own creator. He said, like the Gnostics, they reject creation and the body. They seem to believe that human beings can become whatever we decide to make of ourselves. These movements are also Pelagian, believing that redemption can be accomplished through our own human efforts, without God. He criticized groups of people involved in social movements for prioritizing a global civilization, built on a consumer economy and guided by science, technology, humanitarian values, and technocratic ideas about organizing society, and that they have no need for old-fashioned belief systems and religions. In his address, the Archbishop also said, "We recognize that often what is being cancelled and corrected are perspectives rooted in Christian beliefs, about human life and the human person, about marriage, the family, and more." Earlier in the week, Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a speech, weighed in on cancel culture and the anti-Christian spirit of wokeism. And, astonishingly, he pointed to the year 1917, the year of the Fatima prophecies, when the Russian Revolution ushered in its own tragic experiment with progressive atheism. In the speech that made international news, the Russian president slammed the far-left woke ideology that he said is causing societal ills throughout the Western world, saying that it is no different than what happened in Russia during the 1917 revolution. Putin said, "The preparedness of so-called social progress believes that bringing a new consciousness to humanity is something that is more correct. I would like to say, the recipes they come up with are nothing new. Paradoxical as it may seem, but this is something we saw in Russia. It happened in our country before after the 1917 revolution. The Bolsheviks followed the dogmas of Marx and Engels. And they also declared that they would change the traditional lifestyle, the political, the economic lifestyle, as well as the very notion of morality, the basic principles for a healthy society. They were trying to destroy age and century-long values, revisiting the relationship between the people. They were encouraging informing on one's own beloved, and families. It was hailed as the March of Progress. And it was very popular across the world, and it was supported by many. As we see, it is happening right now. We see with bemusement the paralysis unfolding in countries that have grown accustomed to viewing themselves as the flagships of progress. Incidentally, the Bolsheviks were absolutely intolerant of other opinions, different from their own. Putin continued, "I think this should remind you of something that is happening. And we see what is happening in the Western countries. It is with puzzlement that we see the practices Russia used to have and that we left behind in distant path. The fight for equality and against discrimination turns into an aggressive dogmatism on the brink of absurdity." Finally, not long ago the Russian president gave a speech slamming the West for abandoning its Christian roots. He said the people in the West are actually ashamed of their religious affiliation and are indeed frightened to speak about them. Christian holidays and celebrations are abolished or neutrally renamed as if they were ashamed of those Christian holidays. With this method one hides away the deeper moral value of these celebrations. And those countries try to force this model onto other countries, globally. I am deeply convinced that this is a direct way to the degradation and primitivization of culture. This leads to a deeper demographic and moral crisis in the West. Russia will come to glorify God the most, the West will make civilization progress but without God. And will act like their own creator. Is this the great prophecy of Medjugorje? Are we now seeing clear signs of these prophetic words unfolding before our eyes? As the spirit of the Antichrist tightens its grip on Western society, will the atheist ideologues, who are relentlessly pursuing a world without God, a world of their own creation, if you will, a world created by the beast, demand Christians to accept a mark, of some kind, as an admission of denying God in order to be part of their new world? In this time of trial it makes one contemplate the future and to also consider Mirjana's recent statement about the time of the secrets. She said, "Our Lady told me many things that I cannot yet reveal. I can only hint at what the future holds, but I do see indications that the events are already in motion."